All right, we're going to talk about the CAN bus today. My name is Flint Holbrook. I'm the president and founder of TruckSpy. We're a full suite telematics provider. I want to talk a little bit today about the CAN bus because if you're shopping for telematics, or maybe you probably already have an ELD system installed, you've probably heard this term and you most likely don't fully understand what it is. So the CAN bus, the Controller Area Network, is what CAN stands for, is an electronic system on your truck. And it is designed by automotive engineers, and there's a specific standard that the Society of Automotive Engineers has adopted. And so what this does is it's basically a communications network of all the different components on a vehicle. So whether it's a pickup truck or a cruise liner or an 18-wheeler, all of these components that make up the truck need to communicate with each other electronically. So we're all familiar with the ECM, the engine control computer, right? And so that ECM oftentimes is kind of the brain of the CAN network, but there's all these other components. So like your ABS wheel sensors are on the CAN network, right? Because they can throw an error and they need to communicate their error to the ECM. Right, like your dashboard is tied into the CAN, right? That's where it gets its RPM and its speed and all this data that it's displaying. So the CAN bus is, very high level, just a communication protocol. So from a telematics perspective, the ELD requires a connection to the CAN bus. And that's because the ELD needs to know when the truck's moving, it needs to know what the speed of the truck is, and most likely, at least our system, and I think most others, grab a lot of engine parameters off of the CAN. So we're grabbing like RPM, we're grabbing wheel speed, throttle position, fuel tank level, all these different parameters that as a manager from time to time are pretty useful to you, right? Like when does this truck need to get fuel? Is this driver using cruise control? We can answer all these kinds of questions pulling data off of the CAN bus. So there's two different protocols of the CAN bus. Let's talk just specifically commercial trucks. There is J1708 and J1939. So 1708 is the older, kind of the firster generation of the protocol. So we're talking about trucks older than 2011, pre-2010. Each manufacturer kind of adopts the different protocols at their will, so there's not necessarily like a hard cutoff. 1939 is the newest protocol. Really, from our perspective as managers, there's technical differences. They're really not that big of a deal. So the older 1708, if you're running older equipment, you're going to see a lot more issues around accurate odometer readings and VIN numbers. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of limitations in the 1708 protocol. The 1939, J1939, they fixed a lot of the kind of burdensome issues of the old protocol. So if you're running relatively new equipment, you probably have 1939, which is the big green plug, the big 9-pin green plug. The older plugs were gray, the 1708 were gray or black. So that's kind of how you know, am I on the 1939 or the 1708? And if you're shopping for telematics, you'll want to know that because it's going to drive what kind of cabling you need. So this is just kind of some brief information about the CAN bus. We get a lot of questions about the CAN bus and how data actually gets off the truck. So that's kind of a quick explanation. If you have questions, feel free to post in the comments below.